Good morning, Howies. This is how not to read the Bible. Ways to understand the Bible and what it says without actually having to read it. So we want to know what the Bible says, but we don't always know how to access that. And this is a way to do that. And this week, week 4, we're discovering about plans. And we're looking at a verse in Jeremiah. Now, this verse says, I know the plans I have for you. That's God speaking to Jeremiah, but also to the people of Israel and also to you and me. I know the plans I have for you. And today it's deep dive time. So a theology lesson without having to actually read the theology involved in this. So we can listen, we can talk that through, we can chat. And just these 4 phrases in this verse will reveal what God is saying through a theology deep dive into this verse. And the first one is the first part of this verse, the first phrase of the 4, I know. This is God at his very best. He knows everything, everything you've ever learned, everything you've ever seen, everything you've ever understood. He knows what that is, and he knows that 8 billion people on the planet. Jesus was the most intelligent man ever to have lived. He knows. It's not, oh, yeah, I just found out last week that say, what nuclear fusion is. I've discovered that for the first time. What he's saying is, I really know deep down inside, and I've had this knowledge since the beginning of your time, your earthly time as a planet, but also your personal time. When you were conceived, when you were born, I've known this since then. And it's the fact that he's had this knowledge since the beginning of our time. He's had it from the very first second that we existed. So, what is that knowledge? What's that knowledge that he knows? Let's dive deeply, shall we? Our second phrase is the plans. I know the plans. The Hebrew word for plans is asab, which also means I'm plotting something, I'm up to something. Imagine God saying this to you, I'm up to something in your life. You might find that a little bit threatening, but it's not meant to be at all. It's meant to be, I am working out your life, or I'm determined to see this through, is another meaning of that word hasad. I have a grand purpose. If you remember, if you are familiar with the political system in this country, it's like a political party's manifesto. Every autumn, King Charles visits Parliament to open up the Parliament in a grand ceremony, and he reads out the Prime Minister's plans for the rest of the year. A bit like that, I have a grand purpose for your life. It also means God saying, I'm devising ways to care for you. I'm looking out for ways. I'm always trying to find new ways to care for you. My plans are good plans for you. In our language, plan, the word plan comes from the word plano, meaning move forward. So plans move you forward in your life. God's plans for you move you forward in God's life for you, in God's choices for you. I'm going to get us going forward. And our third phrase is I have. I know the plans I have. The crucial thing here is the tense of the verb. I have. It's present tense. It's happening now. It's current. God is saying, I'm currently having really good plans for you. It's not, well, I kind of had a good plan. You kind of blew it a little bit. You've not really been very good recently. So I'm going to stop having that plan. Whatever your current circumstances, God has a great grand plan for the rest of your life here on earth and for the rest of eternity with him in heaven. Jeremiah was predicting, he was prophesying that the Jews were about to be overrun by an invading army from the north. But God was also saying, going to turn out very good in the end. It's bad today, but it's not always going to be like that because the best is yet to come. And our fourth and final phrase in this little verse we're looking at today is for you. We are the reason why God does anything. He's totally in love with us. All his plans, all his purposes, all his caring ways are all directed at us, to us, towards us, with us, to help us to flourish in this life he had planned for us. For you, the words for you also translates as together with you, connected to you, a real kind of bonding. It's like a good move towards a child or a protege or an apprentice or a loved one. And it's a very logical phrase in the Bible. The Hebrew is a very logical word. God is doing something, therefore it will happen. It's cause and effect. It's like a physics experiment. God moves, then we get moved in a really good way. I know the plans I have for you. That finishes our verse for today, for this week. It has a real longevity to it. It's always been like this. God really looking after us, really looking out for us. And it always will be like this. That's going to be the same yesterday, today, and forever. It's going to happen, folks. Now, let me leave you with this question.